So I was just scrolling through YouTube, minding my own business, and then I see this. So really quickly, I'm going to do an introduction before I get into this video. I am really sorry about the microphone quality on this one. My headset and my computer just not working together. I don't know why. Stuff happens, so really sorry about the audio in advance. Second thing is a disclaimer. Please do not take any offense to this video. I have nothing against the Cosmonaut variety show. He's actually a really good YouTuber with a great sense of humor. It's just this review, I had a lot of things that I wanted to talk about and a lot of things I didn't agree with. But there are quite a few things that I do agree with as well. So I have nothing against this YouTuber. So please bear that in mind throughout the video. And the final third thing, thank you so much for the support you've been giving my Last of Us Part 2 review. It's actually my most viewed video on YouTube so far, but it's actually measly compared to what's going on Reddit. It's actually madness what's happening on Reddit. It's blown up. It's got around 25k upvotes on Reddit. So thank you so much to the Last of Us Part 2 community and you guys watching for all that you've done. This is really amazing. So yeah, thank you very much, and let's get straight into the review.
Murder never felt so good.
So, talking about the gameplay aspects, it's actually surprised me how similar my review was to his. Basically, he literally says almost the exact same things as I did. And I know some of you may be saying, oh, your review came out after his, so you must have copied him. But I actually haven't, and it's really surprising how similar we actually said our reviews was, because everything about the exploration, the combat, and the puzzles I agree with, and I actually really thought that and said in my review, so that was really surprising. But where people most have their problems with this review is in the story. And as in the game, and as in this review, many people didn't like the take on the story that Cosmonaut had. Basically, he said that the story was actually pretty good, and I know a lot of people are outraged by that, but I don't think the story was that good, but not for the reasons that he provided. I purely think the reasons that he gave were just really, really bad. So we're going to hop into some of them right now.
Of the first game. People played that game and watched the ending and thought to themselves, wow, Joel saved his daughter from those bad doctors. What a hero. I had people in my chat saying that his death was unfair because they brutally murdered, and I quote, a beloved character. Joel is not a fucking beloved character.
This is the biggest piece of garbage I've ever heard in my life. Literally so dumb. He later goes on to say that Winnie the Pooh is a beloved character and that Joel is a violent anti-hero. That is so dumb. That's literally like saying Nathan Drake, got Kratos from God of War, and Lara Croft are all not beloved characters because they kill people. Okay, they all kill people on their journey. It's not the moral choices that define a beloved character. It's how lovable they are. Even if they are kill people on their way, it doesn't matter. It matters about their quirkiness, their development, all of these things that writers done so well, especially Naughty Dog in the first game. I mean, that is so dumb. I'm not sure how he understands what the word beloved means. You can love something even if it's not nice, like Deadpool, yeah? He's an anti-hero, but people still love him. He's known with the merc in the mouth. He is one of the most popular and beloved characters in the whole of the MCU. Maybe just behind Spider-Man. Probably is behind Spider-Man and Iron Man right now. But still, he's still, like, a bit of a bad person. Like, obviously in the comics, he's done a lot more things. He's killed the entire universe in one comic, which was really dumb. So saying Joel is not a beloved character purely because he killed some people is just the dumbest things I've ever heard. And as a player, not an author, I don't know why I said that, but as a player, in the first choice, we really empathize with the decision because he knows and we know that Joel cannot lose another daughter, which is why he sacrificed the entire world for Ellie. So that is really dumb from Cosmonaut, and I really don't agree with that, and I really hate that he said that.
But people are mad. They're mad because you don't kill Abby and get revenge in the end, and I cannot understand that at all. At the end of the game, our two protagonists have this crazy final battle, and as Ellie is drowning Abby, she flashes to an image of Joel. And at first I thought this was just some cliche way to remind us that, oh no, Joel wouldn't want Ellie to do this. But later, we see that she was actually flashing back to a very specific scene where Joel and her are talking about forgiveness.
I do actually see Cosmonaut's point here, but it still really feels pointless. He later goes on to say that this entire game is not about revenge, it's actually about forgiveness because of this flashback. Now, I do not agree with this. Not only is all the trailers, the entire ethos, everything about this game before its release date was centered around revenge, okay? Now that is the main thing I want to touch upon. And he says by the end of the game, we realize that we have to forgive Abby. Now listen, why would we ever forgive Abby? I understand that he's trying to take a artistic, abstract, critical approach to this, like it's some masterful storytelling, but that's just dumb. Like, why would Ellie ever forgive Abby? I understand maybe to very small extent not killing her, but forgiving her for killing her father, that is the most dumb thing I've ever heard. So why would Ellie ever do that? I mean, does it make sense? No, it doesn't, so I'm not sure why we'd bring that point up.
If Ellie gets attacked by a dog and almost dies, she will kill the dog to survive. You don't get to spare the dog because Ellie wouldn't spare the dog. We as an audience have become far too comfortable with the idea that our choices are the one thing that matter in video games. Some games really benefit from taking choice away from the player to contextualize the character's role in that world. If you were allowed to do a pacifism run of this game, then this scene would be absolutely ridiculous.
Now again, I do understand Cosmonaut's point here. There are many games where you actually care about the characters more than the player's choice. The characters who choose, you take away that feeling of choice. It worked in many games, such as God of War, for example, when you were forced to kill Zeus. Now that is really interesting. I feel like that's a great idea, but it's executed so poorly in this game. I don't know why he would give that a strong advantage for this game. I mean, for example, okay, he said that we are forced to kill the dog, yeah, but why would we ever empathize with Ellie's actions when we know they're wrong? Why would you empathize with any character's actions? There are some games where we don't want to empathize with them, and that's why they do their certain actions. But in this one, they expect you to empathize with both sides. They expect you to care for both characters doing evil things, and you don't really want them to do that. Sure, you still like them as characters. Like I mentioned before, Joel did evil things, yet you still like him as a character. But do you empathize with those actions? That's the main thing. And I feel like the characters in this game is so bad. Like with Joel, you can kind of empathize with him taking Ellie, but with Abby, you just can't empathize at all because you straight up start with killing Joel, one of our favorite characters. So how are we ever meant to really care what she does? Especially if you got something that's completely different, like I mentioned in my review, like talking about Lev and Yara. Like, why do they have any significance to the story? They don't. It's just there to waste my time.
And I have a lot of friends who can't finish the game because it makes them miserable, and I think that's fine. This one is not for everybody. But being mad and furious because a game makes you do evil things is really stupid. The biggest meme about this game right now is, "Don't you feel bad?" And I think this is kind of silly. If you didn't feel bad, then maybe the post-apocalyptic drama narrative isn't doing its job.
Now I do agree with Cosmonaut that this game is depressing as hell. It is not for everyone, and is not for everyone to finish. I really do understand that. But he later goes on and says that it's really stupid if you don't like when a character does evil things. Now, I completely understand that it is stupid when your character does something when you're playing a video game that you don't like, because after all, you're just playing a character. Isn't like if they don't act out of their character, then that's not a problem, is there? But if it's executed so poorly, like in this game, then there is a problem. And he says the reason why people don't like this game is purely because we do evil stuff as Ellie. And that's just not why people don't like this game. It's because they want us to feel so much emotion for Abby. They want us to feel conflicted about both sides, but they don't achieve it. They just make us think, okay, we hate Abby, let's just get over with it, just kill Ellie, we're wasting our time with a 20-hour story for Abby, you know. That's why the main problems are with this game. It's not because Abby killed Joel, it's not because Abby was just a character in the first place, it's purely because it was executed so badly, and the scenes the writers created were just not good. There were some great scenes, like the sniper scene, which Cosmonaut actually mentioned, which I do appreciate for that, because I also mentioned that in my review, how that was a really good scene to mention, because that was really conflicting emotion, because you find out the sniper is Tommy, but it's in other scenarios it's just executed so badly that you really can't feel anything, and that's why people are angry, and that's why this point is really weak.
Now, real quick, let's take a second to look at things from a different perspective. Let's go to an alternate universe. The year is 2013, and The Last of Us 1 has just come out. It features a doctor and his daughter in a post-apocalyptic world. The doctor's constantly trying to do the right thing, but the world is decaying so fast, and it's hard for him to recognize right from wrong. Then at the end of the story, he finds a girl who's immune to the virus, but he realizes that he has to kill her to make a cure. And since the world is already looking really bleak, he decides that he has to make the hard choice to sacrifice this girl in order to try to save humanity. It's a tough choice, but he knows that he has to do it because he is one of the last people alive who cares about mankind. But then, that little girl's dad kills him because humanity truly is selfish, and at the end of the day, people don't really want to be saved. Seems like a decent story to me. I could see that being in a video game.
Now, that point is actually really interesting to me. Of course, we would really not like Joel if we've covered the whole game throughout the Doctor's perspective. That's how writing works. That's how character emotions arcs building works. So you can't just flip it on its head and say, okay, well, if this happened, now you hate this character. That's the problem, and the reason why people hate Abby is not because they're just dumb and like single-minded. It's purely because it's not written well. Like the first game, its writing was absolutely beautiful. It is a 10 out of 10 story with 6 out of 10 gameplay, okay? That's just a fact right there. But that story really gives you emotion. It makes you be on the side of Joel and Ellie no matter what happens. You are on their side throughout everything. Now, if we go on to Abby's story, we are just on some random mission to get some, medicine and stuff for these dumb people that we don't care about, and now we gotta save some people that just died, and it's so dumb, and there's a new faction coming on, Abby that's killed at the stake. This is so dumb. How does that actually help us? How does that empathize with Abby? How does that help the players think, okay, you know what, Abby's not a bad person? And I mentioned before, the sniper scene was a good example of this, but there are so many scenarios where this is executed poorly, and that is purely the only reason why this game really sucks in its story. And the problem is, so yeah, you might say that's one reason, but that's literally the entirety of the game. It's a 20-hour experience. At least half of that is Abby's story. So this is a really big downgrade, and I don't think he sees that. Now, there are actually a lot other things that were in this video, but I couldn't put it in purely because of time. It's a really good review, actually. There are some amazing points that I brought up that I definitely agree with, but I've just picked out these 4 or 5 clips that were just absolute garbage in my opinion. The stuff in this review is really good, flawlessly good, but the stuff that is just absolute garbage in my opinion. Of course, this is all subjective, and I know that some people might take offense to that, but again, this is completely opinion based, okay? It's all subjective, but I'm pretty sure quite a few people really do agree with me. And at the end of the day, he didn't even give the game that good of a score. He only gave it, I think it was a 6 out of 10, and he said it might be a 7 out of 10 if he plays it again. I gave it a 5 out of 10 because purely was a bad. It wasn't bad, it was just not a good game. It was purely in the middle, and he thinks that, you know what, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. It was just above the average, and most average games are around a 5 out of 10 anyway. And the reason why people are angry is because this is The Last of Us, the Naughty Dog. This is Naughty Dog. They made Crash Bandicoot, they made Uncharted, they made everything, mate. This is the head kings of storytelling, and we get this game. And clearly everyone's angry, and they have a point. If this was just a continuation of some rubbish game that no one cared about, that was released on the NCS or something, really nobody would care. but this is the Last of Us sequel that we waited 7 years for, and we get this crap. So this review, I feel like, has many flaws, but it's actually a good watch, even though it's 20 minutes long, which is 20 minutes worth spent in my opinion. Thank you very much for watching this video and reaching the end of it. It's been a pleasure, and I know a lot of you may find this really boring. You probably won't even be able to see this, and I know a lot of you may not enjoy this, but this is something that's really close to me and quite dear, so I really hope that you guys are majority putting out and hoping that I upload more of these. But thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, please share, let's get some more buzz about this, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.